I am in a very strong need of private space. Right now, I have been spending a lot of time in public places, like the library, like the city parks, like the grocery stores. And it is so overwhelming to deal with the energies of others, especially when you're a sensitive, aware being. It is so difficult for me to be here in the city at this time. And I really need some help. I need the right tips. If there's not work out there, I need to be able to be in a private space for right now. I'm already sleeping in my truck. I'm not asking for a home. I'm beyond that. I'm trying to find some private space to get away from these distractions. And it seems like many times where I go and stay with certain people, when you are at the whim of someone else's generosity, you're also at the whim of whatever mood they choose to be in. And there are certain things that I have witnessed and experienced throughout my life that I haven't talked about in depth on my videos or in my shows. But I do have a book planned at some point in my life that's going to talk about some of the things that I've gone through. But what a lot of people don't know, when you're on the internet and you're enjoying people's videos and you're thinking positive things about them and their intelligence, what people have a hard time understanding is what it's like to actually be in our shoes, to be judged by society, to be hated and scorned. And I know that these things sound extreme to some of you. They really seem to. The words that I use to describe how people treat me, as if you don't have the full empathy for the experience, having never been through it yourself. I want you to know how difficult it is. Once you go outside the box and you start putting stuff with your birth name, my birth name is Alex Ansary. There's a reason why some people have stage names. They have stage names and they disassociate that from their birth name so they don't have any professional problems, especially when they're doing something very outside the box. I've never done that. And so there's no doubt in my mind that in this day and age, certain employers Google me, certain roommates, certainly people that you meet online, maybe of a romantic interest, maybe someone's interested in getting to know you on a certain level. People Google each other to see what they're about. The stuff that I'm into, the stuff that I talk about, it puts you in a certain category, especially today. And I know there's a lot of people that think that there's this golden dawn, this golden age of people, awakening and ascending to these things. But I'm still living this lifestyle of being a social outcast. And I actually am a very good person. And I have somewhat of a track record, and I have references. The issue is even good people, even very good people, for reasons that they feel are sound, and they have a right to have reasons. But people, for whatever reason, don't help people that become officially homeless. It seems that when I'm staying at someone's house for a few days and I'm posting things on Facebook that people seem to enjoy, philosophical statements and other things, they're more interactive because it's positive. They enjoy it. They're glad I'm not posting about being in my truck. They're glad I've shut up about it for just one, and it feels vampiric. When I was doing my show for years, it felt like people cared about me feeding them information and giving them insights. When I talked about, hey, I just need help with this much, that I would lose people, or that I would appear weak. And I don't like appearing weak, because it's that sense of weakness, that illusion of being weak, that I think has held me back these last few months, especially from starting my show even earlier. It is very tough psychologically to be homeless and at the same time say that you have something to tell someone else of value. Well, how is that a value if you're homeless? And people will actually say these things. I believe most people don't help me because they believe that I deserve this, or that I'm not invoking the law of attraction enough. which is showing me on a deeper level how deep some of the New Age bullshit goes, how non-empathetic someone can be. I mean, if children see someone on the road bleeding or suffering, they'll either gawk, stare, or if there's danger, they'll run away. Adults will be distracted by their toys, by their smartphones. And I'm not saying children aren't distracted by these things as well, but there's something about children where they have retained some aspect of their humanity. And they haven't come up with some philosophy to explain why some people deserve to hurt. I think I've taken this very, very well. And I think this is probably one of the calmest tones that I've ever done, at least in some time, in describing my current experience. I don't think I'm stretching the truth when I say that people don't want to hear about the backdrop to the story. I've heard other people say this as well. I've heard Jordan Maxwell say this almost word for word. The truth is that people that choose to live a lifetime preaching their truth, there is a certain amount of suffering that goes along with it. The suffering comes from being ostracized by most of society. With the internet, we have an ability to reach you. There are Facebook pages that we all can have, our online avatar, a YouTube channel, a website. It's very easy now to have a website, to have a blog with WordPress and Blogspot and other social media technologies. That doesn't mean that our own private lives aren't completely isolated and a life marked by a penniless existence. It's painful. And it's only because we truly believe in what we're doing, that this is about the soul's evolution, that we even do this. I was asked for years when I was on the air, when my show was live, why I didn't make any money doing it, especially from prospective romantic encounters or dates or women. Why don't you make money? Why don't you make money doing this? And I would lose people's interest because I wasn't making money doing what was my passion. And that was very difficult to see society act in such a callous, shallow way. But I accepted it and accepted it as part of the learning experience as to where human consciousness is. I have a message for humanity at this time, and there are so many different things that I'm going to be covering in this new series, and it is requiring so much strength and focus to pull it off. Just as I said that, a woman got out of their car, just looked back in this direction with a glare. You know, what is that guy talking? I've got the windows up. There is no privacy for me, and I am surrounded by hateful, angry people, and this is a very difficult time for Alex Ansary to be alive, and I need whatever help is available. I need to find some private space in either the Portland area or even outside of the Portland area. Electricity or internet, I'm not so sure I need that. I'm pretty sure that I don't need to be spending my time at these city parks and these city delis and these city libraries, that there are other things that I can be doing. So for those that are watching this channel and looking into some of the things that I'm talking about, for those that have been listening to this channel and listening to some of these videos, don't assume that I am staying at a certain place, be it here or there. I am mobile. I am actually living in this truck. The only thing that ties me to Portland right now, or the one reason I think I'm even here, there's only one reason why I even think I'm in Portland, and it's to start doing the cable access show on Saturday nights, and that's going to be coming up very shortly. But in the backdrop and all the things around that, I need to create just a little bit more stability. I need to create just a little bit more of a foundation, because without that foundation, without any of that stability, everything is very, very complex. And there are other people, there are people that live here in the city. There are people that live in Portland, Oregon, that feel the stress and feel the pressure from this housing crisis, from this population boom, from seeing the increase in homeless, from seeing the increased strife, greater competition for jobs. There are a lot of people that are suffering economically, that are working, that have homes, that have cars, but they're getting less hours at work. It's a ticking time bomb. And it may be just a matter of time before before, in Portland, it's illegal to sleep in your vehicle. What we do know is that it is illegal in California. What we do know is that it's much worse in other places in the country to be if you are homeless. And so what that is going to do is continue to push people into this area, into Portland, Oregon. And as other economies continue to implode, as other parts of the country continue to collapse, if you will, for whatever reason, socially, morally, and otherwise, there are more people coming to Portland, Oregon, hoping to basically experience something wonderful. And so because of that, and because so many people have migrated here, there is a entitlement mentality. There is that callousness. They've worked hard to get here. They've done this. They have this degree. Oh, and then there are these other attitudes. At least it's not Philadelphia, they say. At least it's not Los Angeles. At least it's not Las Vegas. At least it's not Seattle. At least it's not Dallas. At least it's not Miami. Years ago, when I was living here in Portland, nobody said those things. The only reason people say things like that, oh, at least it's not Philly, at least it's not Seattle, it's because most of those people aren't from here. Most of those people just came here from those cities. So they understand comparing Portland to Philly, comparing Portland to New York. People from Portland don't do that. I'm trying to find a place for myself in the city where I can help, where I belong, because I was born in this city. I am a native Portlander, and that is rare in and of itself. So this is Alex Yancey signing off. I'm going to be trying to make some more videos in the next couple of days, hopefully on a more upbeat note. There's a lot of things that I want to cover, and I'm going to be doing my first recording at Portland Community Media this Saturday night. I have never attempted to do a show on Access TV or a series on a regular basis while being technically homeless and living in my truck. And I personally don't know of anyone else doing a show on Access TV of a certain content, especially dealing with the stuff that a lot of you are interested in, and as well as some of the things that I talk about. If you know of anyone addressing some major topics while they're homeless, I mean, I would love to see how others are doing it. But what I want to do is do a show that's not focused on the homeless issue or my issues, but actually a return of focus on the core issues that I think people need to be aware of. The solar flares, what's going on with geopolitics, what's going on with this, continuation of the centralization of decision-making on Earth. People should know about these things. They should know what's going on with the banks. They should know what's going on with surveillance. I mean, Snowden has this, he's known as a hero around the world, but many of us took the bullet already by going out there with our birth names and speaking out against this stuff way before others knew about it. The NSA, the wiretapping. We were back doing this years ago, and people were calling us conspiracy theorists. But yet, the admiration goes to Snowden. And this isn't to knock Snowden, but it's strange how these things happen a certain way. Because really what the whole Snowden revelations are is that, yeah, you are being watched. You are being tracked. And a lot of that just results in more fear, including people being afraid to help other people. If we're going to make it through the things that are to come, there has to be at least some sort of underground railroad system in place for when people are targeted that are speakers of truth, presenters of truth, they have a safe place to go to where they can escape being tracked and traced. I don't know if that infrastructure will ever be developed. I'm sure in some ways it will, and there will be good people out there that help people. And that's why I'm spending time in prayer, asking for those right connections, not so much so I can disappear, but just simply so I can find the right private space somewhat locally within Portland so I can focus on my work. When I'm reacting and looking around and taking notes and all this stuff, which I can't help but do, especially when you're public all the time, it takes me away from my truth. When we're overly aware of the darkness externally, it takes us away from our own light. It truly does. And I'm aware of this. And I don't want these external factors to have any dominance over me. I invoke my spiritual sovereignty over these things and also over the entities that run through these cities like mad. With that, I'm going to now close. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you in the next video.